To understand Stoicism better, I'm going to tell you this story about Spartan boy who fell into a slavery. And here is the story basically. Spartan boy fell into slavery. And one day he was ordered to fetch a chamber pot. Now, this Spartan boy, without anyone ever knowing it, why, fiercely shouted and said, and screamed basically, "I will not be a slave, I will not be a slave," and hit his head on a rock and committed suicide. Fiercely hit his head on a rock and committed suicide basically. And this story is admirable for Stoics, because in this story you can reflect and see a spirit of a Stoic kid. Now, this Spartan boy didn't know that he was a Stoic, or that he done something admirable for Stoics. But if you look at it from modern perspective, this is just a suicide. What is there? What is there, basically, in this story to respect? What is respectable in this story? And I want to can explain it. This is the difference between today's times and ancient times. Because today, because of influence of major religions that speak against suicide, suicide in society is viewed as something bad. But in ancient times, suicide was not something like you inquire wrath of God and you are going to burn or entire eternity in hell because you. No. In ancient times, it was like, and especially for Stoic perspective, it's like you have this bottom line and your bottom line gets crossed. Walk away in peace. Like, who are you proving anything by by withstanding this pain? And best thing that reflects this Stoic ideology is within this quote here, which I'm going to read it for you right now. This is the one reason why we cannot complain of life. It keeps no one against his will. Humanity is well situated because no man is unhappy, except by his own fault. Live if you so desire. If not, you may return to the place you came from. For this kid, Spartan kid, boy, this was awful. It was his bottom line. It was against his will, and he just decided to go back in place where he came from. Now, Stoics are ruthless people, generally. Stoics are known for their restlessness, so for their cold-bloodedness, basically. They are very... For some people, Stoics are ruthless beyond belief, and they are very noble characters, by the way. They are best people to have in nation. One of the best. Stoics are patriotic, serving people, honorful, etc. But at the same time, in these certain areas, they are very, on the spot. They give no option. And especially when we talk about Stoicism and this, Stoics are even more restless than what you would expect. And from this story, which you said, right? And some Stoics are, if you are, so just leave. And when we talk about these things about the death and stuff like that, Stoics give us this understanding of, hey, don't fear death. Basically, Stoics aren't afraid of death, and why is that? Why Stoics don't fear death? Because it is according to nature. For Stoics, things that are according to nature, there are nothing bad in that. That's things that are according to nature are only natural things happen. They are ruthless toward themselves, and they are even more ruthless. Basically, they are even more ruthless to themselves, and according to others as well. I mean, for example, for Stoics, mourning, right? When you mourn. Well, for Stoics, it's like, well, what's purpose? What's the use of mourning? Like, is it according to nature? And this is where we touch our second subject. Right? We talked about this and Stoicism already. How Stoics, of course, this book is written in ancient times, and well, almost nobody, almost nobody knew anything about actual nature. But today we know much more. So we do know. So basically, they say that everything that's according Stoics say this, that everything that's according to nature is good. But what is nature of nature? We've learned that nature is opportunistic, restless, and cruel. At best, nature is just indifferent, just don't care. If you were to look at the evolution, like our survival, like nature, what is nature to Stoics, right? Because if you look at it, it's worthless out there. There is no such thing as so-called justice or safety. I mean, even if you look at it, right, today's days, these problems are, right, a bunch of people are starving, they don't have these things, and at the same time, if you look at it, it's not in hands of super intelligent people how to decide certain problems, how to fix certain problems. Yeah, super intelligent people invent, for example, nuclear weapon. Super intelligent people have invented the nuclear weapon, but it's automatically shifted its hand toward people that are not as intelligent as the original creators of this device. Well, not this device, but this weapon, which got used for scaring each other, potentially putting entire planet to the potential danger of basically extinction. But of course, nuclear energy also can be used for good purposes. But what I'm saying is, this is the nature. Nature is opportunistic. Nature is restless. Also, from that perspective and to today's world, if you look at it, because and what I'm saying is not from this is a correct century, not correct moment, but look at from that perspective to this century. They literally, to them, like we are magicians, we are witches, and we are gods basically to them. We are like super intelligent beings. I mean, everybody is super intelligent compared to these people here, because of technological evolution. And of course, when in this book, our author talks about these certain things, of course it's wrong, because he did not knew the theory of evolution. He did not knew that it's not Earth is not flat, and we are not the center of the universe at all. And sun does not roll around this Earth, but it's opposite. The sun circles around the sun, and there are also other planets, and all this good stuff that we know today because of science, because of observation, because of observing this thing. So he didn't know. So there are these things in this book which are automatically doesn't make any sense to us, and you don't have to. Neither you have to pay any attention to. But here's the thing that Stoics are spot on. Basically, spot on. And it's a human nature. Stoics in these letters, like Stoics observe human nature so well, because human nature, even though we evolved, so as a society we are smarter than during the times, but human nature is not something that's just going to change like that, right? At last today, before we potentially in the near future merge with machines directly, maybe then our human nature will change drastically. But so far it's not, and this is why it's very interesting to read this book and observe these parts. For example, they insist that they have received injuries in order that they may inflict them. This is the nature of human. Like, we are so self-delusional in so many things. We disregard, and here's the thing, we disregard this. And here's power of Stoicism. You know what we're talking about, the stories of nobody's holding you back. We disregard this. We get angry on superfluous things of little value, basically. Things of little importance. We attach to it most of our time, most of our energy. So, petty stuff. If you pay attention to petty stuff in your life, your life will be petty as well, pathetic in another way. And Stoics are like, well, maybe you have this thing going on with that person, but now you delude yourself that you are injured, and oh my god, like you are a kid that pretends like, oh no, I'm hurt. This wound is mortal wound. Somebody save me. No, it's not that. It's not like that. You are dying. This is what Stoics tell you. And this is what wisdom tells you, generally, not only Stoics. You are dying. Every single day you are dying. And you have only these 24 hours. You can cry and whatever you want. You can be like, you can cry as much as you want about your past mistakes. Past is past. You cannot do anything. And you can be afraid of future as much as you want, but you know nothing about future. So between these two, you have this choice. We as human beings, currently we are prisoners of the present. We have nothing more than present. If you were to really think about it, we are prisoners of this present moment right now. And that's it. So stop overvaluing. Stop paying attention to things that are of little value. Whatever can happen in time can happen right now. And here's the thing. If you were to die right now, think about it. Sun still will rise. Life would still. You are not as important as you think you are. In fact, you are not important at all. If you were to take cosmic perspective, you are what we are. Even from cosmic perspective, our planet is. Even our planet is nothing. And even more so we may even be survival machines of some sort of beings that literally live inside of us right now, and these super intelligent beings just use us as their survival mechanism. They're like, or we may be simulation in computer, and both of us are programmed right now. No. So whatever can happen in time can happen today, which means there are hundreds of thousands of ways we may die. For example, if supernova were to happen close to our solar system, we would be gone. Like we would extinct without even knowing. Oh, like supernova, bang, boom. You may die, or we most of us may die by the asteroid or super advanced virus that spreads to entire planets. Everybody simply has this virus. Everybody dies. You die, I die, we die, all die. This is what the reality of life is. Reality of life, no matter how much we dislike it, or how much we want to avoid this thing, how much we don't want to accept this effect. Safety is an illusion. Even people that go in this chair, what this thing is called, like people that build these shelters for possible nuclear war. Even that people will die. It's the point. This virus is so dangerous, or this, if supernova is close enough and powerful, and supernova is powerful, it will just destroy our solar system, like and everything for us at last. So whatever can happen in time can happen today. How many people do you know die by car crash? Nobody wakes up in the morning and goes out home and is like, at last 99% of the time. There may be occasional super smart people that do that. I'm not one of that. And and nobody wakes up and morning out. Okay, I will live today as if I'm going to die. Okay, I would assume that there will be some smart type of people, and I will try to be also one of them that tries to. And you should also strive to be one of them. Both of us, in fact, us should strive to be one of these type of people. And when we wake up in thinking today I may die, how are you going to spend your day? Today we're going to die. How are you going to spend your day? Live just like that entire life. Alright, today I'm going to die. Alright? Yeah, great. Now, but at the end of the day, how are we going to live? And there is a second option, right? People just wake up in the day, I will live as, what we all said, but the difference is that the person actually dies on the day. But vast majority of people, they wake up in the morning, they don't even think about it by another day, they never see basically another sunset, they just dead. Sunrise or sunset, like they never see it again because they are dead. And we can talk about what happens after death, but that's not our topic right now. I mean, within Stoics they say that spirit is immortal, but let's stick to reality. This is also worthless. He who dies just because he is in pain is a weakling and coward, but he who lives merely to breathe out this pain is a fool. This is also a difference, right, with what we talked about suicide for Stoics. Now, Stoics don't tell you to. Stoics basically don't encourage us to commit suicide, of course. It encourages us, Stoicism, to live according to our motto, our own, basically, constitution, our own laws. And if life touches your bottom line, and you are, basically, let's say you are in let's say I'm in hands of my mortal enemy, and I'm a prisoner, and I know in 3 days I'm going to be killed, executed, and by my execution, just give my enemy a pleasure. Do you know what would you do in this case? In 3 days you are guaranteed that in 3 days you are going to die. You are only imprisoned by your mortal enemy, and in 3 days your enemy wants to just make show out of your death. What you do? How will you behave? No, you can't run away. Stop. No, 3 days you're dead. Dead man. How will you behave? I'll tell you how Stoics will behave. Stoics won't wait. Stoics will just come to say they won't give this pleasure to their mortal enemy. Neither they will wait for inevitable. We do not put sufficient trust in discoveries of the wise, and do not drink in their words with open heart. To me, this quote resonates because there are some mistakes I made because I did not pay much attention to the teachings of the wise, and I thought, well, this thing is written in book. This has nothing to do with me. It will never happen to me. This arrogance, right? That happens. No, and a couple of hours later that happened, which I thought, and I was like, oh, no, I know not happened, but I understood that that thing was ruined. I remembered in my head, and I was like, oh no, I have ignored that thing. And I regretted it, but it was too late. But also it was a great lesson to me. So put sufficient trust in discoveries of the wise. More we can explore. Yes, most people are unwilling to live, and yet they don't know how to die. Pretty true. We are slaves of our fears, our desires that control us. Lust, greed, terror, fear of death. Maybe we are slaves of these things. These things motivate our decisions. And as less you are slave of these things, as you are close to be a wise man according to Stoics. Not free in the sense that you don't experience these things, but you have power to shut it down. You have power to be like, oh no, I live according to nature. I'm still going to die. I'm not going to waste my time doing some bad things. And one of the fascinating things, for example, okay, let's close this down right now. Our notebook of notes, and just tell you these things. I'm just remember from the book. Just this thing, how many people train their bodies super seriously, and almost nobody trains their mind, because just like you can train your body, so you can train your mind. But if you look at this today's statistics, right, very little number of people train their bodies, and even more little number of people essentially train their brain. Why is that? I know I will leave this. I will tell you this thing as just a thought. Just have this thing in your mind. And there's this quote I wanted to read to you. If you will pay close heed to the problem, you will find that the largest portion of our life passes while we are doing ill, a goodly share while we are doing nothing, and the whole while we are doing that which is not to the purpose. Have these things in your mind. This is great ending thought to have. And also, lastly, I will tell you this thing. He who starts to be your friend because it pays also will betray, stab in your back, and stop being your friend because it pays. Right? Okay. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't. See you.